Victory Church in Albany is offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest in the murder of China Forney.
The 18-year-old high school senior was gunned down yesterday afternoon on Essex Street. Jonathan Hunter is live in Albany with our follow-up report. Jonathan?
Yes, good evening, Mark and Benita. This is a very sad situation indeed. China Forney, she was 18 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. She had plans to graduate from Albany Leadership Charter School for Girls and wanted to go on to study nursing. The school sent us a statement. They say they watched her grow from a bright-eyed, fun-loving freshman to a young woman with focus and determination. They say she was a talented athlete who was a leader on the indoor and outdoor track team. They say they will always remember her infectious smile and personality. I spoke to...
Now that's how you describe somebody. Not they made you laugh, they made you joke. They was good at criticizing other people on their appearance. Cause you know that's basically what black people mean when somebody dead in the news put a camera in their face and they say they was always joking. They always made me laugh. They was full of jokes. They was the life of the party. They always put a smile on your face. They're basically saying that person was good at playing the dozens, whatever you would call it, bidding or whatever you would call it, cracking jokes. This woman, this young girl, was more than that. She was a good person, actually. A productive citizen.
China Forney, she was 18 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. She had plans to graduate from Albany Leadership Charter School for Girls and wanted to go on to study nursing. The school sent us a statement. They say they watched her grow from a bright-eyed, fun-loving freshman to a young woman with focus and determination. They say she was a talented athlete who was a leader on the indoor and outdoor track team. They say they will always remember her infectious smile and personality. I spoke to Steve Smith, a spokesperson for the Albany Police Department. He says when it comes to homicide investigations, people in the community are reluctant to give out any information. He says the community and police have to work together to solve this case.
This is real life that we're dealing with. This is not a TV reality show. We need the community to work with us. We need them to provide information when it comes to these types of incidents. It goes a long way, and we need to make sure that we're holding individuals accountable.
That girl they just described came out of a community where no one can give any information on a broad daylight public murder that everybody in the town knows about. That's one of the greatest miracles that I've seen in a while, that a girl described like that could come out of a place like that. It's kind of like that little 14-year-old boy we talked about the other day from DC. How do these children come out of places where there's a broad daylight murder in a residential area? After about 5 or 6 hours, the scuttlebutt gets around, the streets start talking. Everybody knows what happened. Everybody knows who did it. The guy or the guys who did it are riding their bikes around and hanging out at the rec center or whatever. And nobody says anything that will help bring that person to justice, or help that family get some closure, or help, find a guy who killed this girl who was going to go on to do great things and be a productive black citizen. Broad daylight, just snuffed her out. How do these kids come out of these communities? How do these communities produce? Because you have to understand, if that's what that community feels about murder, what does that community feel about education? What does that community feel about family? If that community's mores and values about safety and civility and justice are that warped and that skewed and that perverted and bastardized and just wrong and evil. What is that community teaching these kids about family, education, money? No wonder none of these kids have any money in the bank or know how to balance a checkbook or file their taxes. No wonder the test scores are so bad in these communities. No wonder there's no two-parent households in this community. Look at what they think about safety.
This is real life that we're dealing with. This is not a TV reality show. We need the community to work with us. We need them to provide information when it comes to these types of incidents. It goes a long way, and we need to make sure that we're holding individuals accountable.
And Smith says that the investigation is still ongoing, and you can submit an anonymous tip by going to Capital Region Crime Stoppers. Reporting live in Albany, Jonathan Hunter for News Channel 13. Mark and Benita.
All right, Jonathan, thank you.
Nurse was shot dead this weekend at the Brown Sugar Festival in Clewiston.
The shooting also injured 3 others, and deputies are still looking for whoever pulled the trigger. NBC2's Ashley Graham looked into the security, or lack thereof, at the event.
In the last few hours, we told you there was less security at this festival than in years past. Normally, they have months to prepare and to bring in outside agencies, at least 5 agencies, including SWAT. And so the Hendrick...
Wait a second. This festival needs a SWAT team at it usually. And because of the pandemic and defund the police, they weren't able to have 5 agencies, including a SWAT team, at this festival this year. So that's the story. Not the story isn't that it was a mass shooting at this festival. The story is that the police failed by not providing 5 different agencies. That means 5 different police departments working this one festival in this one area, along with a SWAT team ready to go at any moment, on standby, on location. Show me the Asian neighborhood where all this is necessary. Where simultaneously they're marching against the police, they're complaining about the police every second, but then on the other hand, they're calling the police, and they can't have a get-together unless there's 5 agencies there and the SWAT team's on the scene, just in case something happens. Not to deter anything from happening, because something's still going to happen.
In the last few hours, we told you there was less security at this festival than in years past. Normally, they have months to prepare and to bring in outside agencies, at least 5 agencies, including SWAT. And so the Hendry County Sheriff's Office was out here during the festival this weekend, and they say they did everything they could on short notice, just 2 weeks notice for this festival. And now there were thousands of people here celebrating at the festival when this shooting happened. And people in the community tell me that if there had been more time to coordinate, Evriana might still be here. Organizers had a few weeks to put the Brown Sugar Festival together. They expected hundreds to come, but got a surge of thousands instead.
We were bombarded with people.
In that crowd was 20-year-old Evriana Sankey. She had just finished nursing school. Her family lived and worked in the Harlem area for years.
Now, these ain't the type of chicks you gonna see on the videos where I do about the sisters wilding. These are the women, these are the wives, the future wives to some black guy that got his stuff together, hopefully. Being stuffed out of broad daylight and nobody knows a thing. First of all, young lady, I'm sad that she didn't follow my channel, even though I'm a coon and she probably wouldn't follow my channel. She probably wouldn't have watched me. You'd never go, it's 1,000? Like, oh my God. It's too many. 1,000. I was too many of them there, man. You shouldn't have been there, Evriana. But she's she's a kid. Her family's from that area. They've probably been to that festival plenty of times. There's always a SWAT team on standby. There's teaming with cops. So she probably thought she was safe because it was teaming with police, racist KKK cops. But since there were no racist KKK race soldiers there this year, not as many. There was a lot of race soldiers there, but it wasn't as many race soldiers as was necessary to keep everybody safe. But once there was, where there's 3, I won't be there around 3 of y'all, man. 1,000?
In that crowd was 20-year-old Everiana Sankey. She had just finished nursing school. Her family lived and worked in the Harlem area for years. Her life cut short after someone shot into the crowd.
And now, after 16 years, here we have another incident. And not only that, 1 person dead and 3 people injured. Oh my God.
Gwen Patrick Griffiths helped create the festival. She says she wishes more officers were there that night. The sheriff's office says they used all the resources they could on 2 weeks' notice. Right now, their focus is on finding the shooter. They don't have names yet, but Gwen knows one thing for sure.
These are cowards. These are people who have to hide behind guns.
The Hendry County Sheriff's Office is still searching any and all leads in terms of who fired that gun over the weekend, and they still want your help to track down who this person was. So if you know anything, you're asked to contact them or to contact Southwest Florida Crime Stoppers. They may be able to help you facilitate those tips. I'm reporting live in Harlem. Ashley Graham, NBC2.
Evriana Sankey. She was nicknamed Yana or Yaya. Poops, Poopy. So she was a beloved person. Very beautiful young lady. Called her a money maker. She loved dancing. She was compassionate. There go that word. But I believe them in this. I believe y'all when y'all say this one. She was a nurse. So nurses, man. After spending all that time in the hospital during my wife's pregnancy, because, you know, my wife had preeclampsia, so she was in hospital for 3 weeks straight, and I was in the hospital with her. We basically lived in the hospital, seeing all those nurses. And then when she had the baby, nurses are wonderful people, man. I don't care what nobody say. You can't talk bad about nurses in front of me. If you're a nurse, I think that I give you the benefit of the doubt as being a good person. Look at all these. You rarely see this on the gun memorial. Most of this is blank. Almost on 90% of them, this section is blank. You'll have a few here and there where you have like 1 or 2 comments or 1 or 2 pieces of information. But for her to have all of this lets you know what type of person she was. And you can't deny that I know about the gun memorial. Nobody talks about the gun memorial more than we do here. Okay, so, yes, this young lady was definitely beloved.
A night of fun ends in tragedy. This 20-year-old woman died after shots were fired during a festival in Hendry County. 3 others are recovering from gunshot wounds tonight. Thank you for watching Wink News. I'm Justin Case.
And I'm Taylor Petras. Hendry County deputies tell us this happened in the area of Harlem Academy and 12th Street in Clewiston during the Brown Sugar Festival. That festival not only works to spread local awareness and appreciation of Black heritage, but also provides scholarships to students in the community.
Offers scholarships to Black history. So you telling me something that, celebrates Black history, you need it to be teeming with cops from 5 different agencies and have a SWAT team on standby, or else everybody gonna be complaining and whining when what happens when you don't have that happens. Not gonna be like, well, we didn't even have police this year. We didn't have no SWAT team, and look, we didn't have no shooting. Look what those people say about us. They talk about us, we can't be civilized. But we didn't have all that this year, and when there was no violence. Nah, they ain't even got enough sense to do that. They gonna be like, y'all wasn't here, the race soldiers wasn't here, the KK cops wasn't here. Y'all let us down. At our Black History, Black celebration of Black achievement and giving away scholarships event.
That festival not only works to spread local awareness and appreciation of Black heritage, but also provides scholarships to students in the community. The Night Beat's Zach Oliveri spoke with neighbors who are devastated with how the celebration ended.
The Brown Sugar Festival, a cherished tradition. 2,000 people flooded the streets in the Clewiston community of Harlem Saturday. People in this community call this a big family reunion. A day of fun and music ends in gunshots. 1 person dead, 20-year-old Ivriana Sankey, 3 injured.
I began to hear shooting, different areas. I see people running, I can't run, I'm immobile.
Hendry County deputies were in the area during the event. When they heard the gunshots, deputies responded immediately. And
Deputies responded immediately, yeah, because they was already there. It just wasn't enough of them there. As in past years. And these people have been marching all year. Well, mostly been white liberals, but still, a lot of black folks still been, proportionately, a lot of black folks still been doing this anti-police stuff all year, and all last year.
Hendry County deputies were in the area during the event. When they heard the gunshots, deputies responded immediately, and once they found the victim, began performing CPR. But the injuries were too severe.
It's just horrible to know that someone came to our community to have a great time and lost their life.
Reverend Glenn Patrick Griffiths, who helps organize the festival, told me the community wanted the festival back. It was canceled a year ago due to the pandemic, and those concerns came up this year. The county commission gave the festival the go-ahead 2 weeks ago. The sheriff's office said they would be pressed to cover the festival because...
Look how these niggas left this shit, too. Didn't go around and clean up after themselves. Just left that shit like that. This is days after. This is days later. Just left that shit like that. Didn't. And y'all know. How do these kids, these great kids like this come out of these communities? I'm not even trying to be like, it's, these kids are great kids to come out of these communities and be as functional and normal and productive as they are, only to be gunned down, but still just left the shit. Now I know it was a shooting, I get it, but nobody came back to clean up after this. Just left that shit. And that's and it's always like this. We have festivals in my city, and the city got to come clean that stuff. And this was like a private festival. Nah, we're the women in the community to come with we're the men in the community to come and get some trash bags and some pickers and just pick all this stuff up and just leave it like that.
Those concerns came up this year. The county commission gave the festival the go-ahead 2 weeks ago. The sheriff's office said they would be pressed to cover the festival because of the short notice. When the night ended, board members had trouble directing traffic.
We just need them here when we need them. And our instructions were that if something happens, call us and we'll come.
The sheriff's office told me normally they are given 4 to 6 months notice to bring in mutual aid from neighboring departments, but they were just given a few days. Deputies are still investigating. Zach Oliveri, Wink News Now.
We reached out to the Hendry County Commission for a response. We're still waiting to hear back. The shooter is still on the run tonight. If you have any information, you're asked to call the Hendry County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you so much for calling us. Thank you, because her dad just died, so we need this.
Breaking news at 11. You just heard the moment NBC2 told a Lee County family about this man's arrest. Hendry County deputies say Lawrence D'Angelo Humphrey is connected to the shooting that took their daughter's life. Thank you.
Give you guys a second to gather yourself. I know many of you guys fell out of your chairs when by this shocking news, this picture. I know you guys were expecting a race soldier, an alt-righter, a capital rider, a Klansman, a Proud Boy. Nope. The person who killed this bright young woman who had a great future in front of her, who crawled up out of the muck of Blackistan to make something of herself. Person who killed her, this is him. Well, he was one of the shooters, or he was in the car, or he was involved in it. They haven't quite yet. You know, they're still figuring it out. But he's involved.
A Lee County family about this man's arrest. Hendry County deputies say Lawrence D'Angelo Humphrey is connected to the shooting that took their daughter's life. Thank you for watching NBC2. I'm Peter Bush.
And I'm Brenna White. That young woman killed last Saturday is Evriana Sankey. Here she is with her father, Everett Sankey. He passed away last night. NBC2's Megan Myers is talking to their family about what they have to say to the person who pulled.
That shit crushed him so bad that he died. Them killing his baby, who he raised up to be a productive citizen, and somebody that was going to go be somebody other than a hoochie mama or a rat. And you know these people all Black Lives Matter, anti-police and all this stuff, but that's not that's the default setting. She's a black woman, 97%. Who thinks that she voted Republican? Nobody thinks that. However, aside from all that, this man raised this girl up, and to see her gunned down in broad daylight at a festival, to be just the unlucky one. There's 1,000, 2,000 people there, and she's the one that gets killed. Think about how many hood rats and hoes that are going to be fighting at airports and at amusement parks and having 75 bastard babies. It's living off welfare for 40 years. Think of how many of them were there. And this girl that catches the bullet, the fatal bullet. 3 other people were wounded, but she catches the fatal bullet. There's probably 5 people like her there, or 10 females like her there. And she catches the fatal bullet. And it just killed this man. He died because of this. 2 lives lost. He died of a broken heart. I know it, man. I know it. He died of a broken heart. He couldn't take it. I told you the other day, brothers we don't talk about, because we gotta be, if you think men gotta be macho, black men gotta be real macho, because the environments we live in. The pain this brother was going through. He just died. He couldn't take it.
Here she is with her father, Everett Sankey. He passed away last night. NBC2's Megan Myers is talking to their family about what they have to say to the person who pulled the trigger.
Lawrence D'Angelo Humphrey is in jail tonight for tampering with evidence in the case. This arrest is bringing Everyana Sankey's family a little bit of relief during this horrific time. We actually just found out they made an arrest.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you.
One arrest down, but more to go after a gunman opened fire at the Brown Sugar Festival on Saturday night.
God, she did move.
Bullets.
She wished that she did move. Sister skedaddle. Just too late. How many times are we going to see this play out? Where people about to move just don't move soon enough. Or people like, the hell, I'm out. I'm out. How many times we going to see this?
God, she did move.
Bullets hitting and killing Larissa Tillman's 20-year-old sister, a sibling, a daughter, a nurse, with her whole life ahead of her.
Somebody whose goal in life was to save lives. They took hers.
When Sankey's father found out she was killed, the loss was unbearable.
Didn't he just scream out and break down like something you see in a horror movie?
In a tragic twist, 3 days later, family members say he died of a heart attack, or what some would call a broken heart.
My dad was a very loving person, and they took him because they took her.
For the person who pulled the trigger Saturday night,
I feel like they murdered my husband too.
With the shooter.
This is... I told you the other day in the story we did about the girl in Florida, the girl out, the TSA agent that was gunned down. Hit one if you remember that story. You saw the dad on the scene. And just that look in his eyes. Look at the type of black women that are getting killed. Just broad daylight. No other race of woman this happens to. Yes, white women get killed by their husbands, their boyfriends. Once, it's like being struck by lightning to be killed by a mass shooter in a white neighborhood. Those things happen so rarely in white neighborhoods, considering how big their population is. But most white women killed by their husbands, boyfriends, something domestic. Black women just gunned down in the streets. Stray bullets. And look at the type of women that there are. It's not hood rats. I feel sorry for this brother, man. This brother was so proud. He raised all his daughters up. This one he raised up. This pisses me off, man.
Somebody whose goal in life was to save lives. They took hers.
When Sankey's father found out she was killed, the loss was unbearable.
Didn't he just scream out and break down like something you see in a horror movie?
In a tragic twist, 3 days later, family members say he died of a heart attack, or what some would call a broken heart.
My dad was a very loving person, and they took him because they took her.
For the person who pulled the trigger Saturday night,
I feel like they murdered my husband too.
With the shooter still out there, detectives are asking for anonymous tips that can lead to another arrest in this case.
and so is a grieving family.
If it was your family, you would want somebody to do the same thing for your family. I just can't believe this happening. I just can't believe it.
Losing so much in the past 4 days.
Help us. I know it's not going to bring her back, but at least we want to try to get some justice for not only her, but my husband.
If you have any information that can help detectives, you can contact the Hendry County Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Megan Myers.
All right, some inside information. This woman, Taquanta Bell, says, why do we have to be so ugly to each other? You guys do realize that no matter the color of our skin, we all bleed the same, correct? Every time Hendry County sheriffs post something, it could be positive, and it's always somebody bringing up race. We understand our cultures are totally different. You ain't lying about that. But could y'all imagine what the community would be like if we all at least tried to come together as one? I don't care if she was black, white, Hispanic, Chinese, orange, yellow, or whatever. I would still feel the same way. That child didn't deserve to die over amateur guys with guns and big egos. For the life of me, I don't understand why people shoot in crowds. And from my understanding, this was already planned. A young lady posted on April 29th that someone was talking about shooting up the festival anyway. Y'all stop this stupid ass race stuff and let's pull together and find these killers who premeditated this murder. She wasn't the intended target, but whoever is responsible came to our community with murder on their minds. So some guys had already talked about shooting up this festival. No, this black awareness for black history and black achievement and giving out scholarships. So you know it's going to be some good kids there because they're giving away scholarship. And some dudes was already planning on shoot. This is why you don't go to these things. And the people online talking about it's going to be shot up, like, before it even happened. Now you see why people are upset that it wasn't the SWAT team on deck and it wasn't the 5 agencies of policemen on. It wasn't teaming. I mean, overrun with cops. I'm talking about like cop Wakandan, cop Wakandan, cop Wakandan, cop Wakandan, cop Wakandan. Not so the shooting wouldn't happen, but Joe, so that the guys could be caught. This woman says, let's stop fighting each other and turn that energy towards the people who are responsible for taking this baby's life. Special thanks to the deputies who risked their own lives coming out there into that madness and springing into action the way they did. How can we make sure they get the recognition they deserve? Who can we call? I'll write a letter to the president if need be. Their names are Deputy Scelfo and Deputy Echeverra. So yeah, I'm going to need all races on board with this, if it's not too much to ask. May baby girl rest in peace. #rant over. Well, very well said, Taquanta Bell. She makes me feel like there's actually hope. The same way you guys say you feel when you see my videos compared to the rest of the Negroes online, that's how I feel about this woman's comment. It gives me hope.